Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Or I should say, oh, I gotta be careful here. I'm excited to be back. I am back from my incredible trip to India, and I guess the total amount of time I was there was, yeah, 2 months. 2 months in India. I spent the first well, all up until the last week, I was in Rishikesh, Topavan, which, if you don't know, Rishikesh is basically the birthplace of yoga. So there's tons of yoga studios and yoga schools and ashrams, and it's just like this big mecca of international mecca of everybody coming in and wanting to study, whether it's actual yoga asana, whether it's Ayurveda, or it's sound healing, or it's just like a million different modalities that um, for me, it just felt like this huge playground of alternative wellness practices that are super ancient, right? Based in India, from India for, have been around for over 4,000 years that we can remember. And it was incredible. I then decided to, at the last minute, take a trip on my own to one of the oldest cities, I think, in the world, right? I don't know how you can attest to this, but it's called Varanasi, and it's also the holiest city in India. And the reason why is because people go there from India to die. They literally go there. There's hospice care, hospice hospitals or centers and things. And what happens is they have live cremations happening in front of you. So everybody can see. And this fire that is burning bodies has been burning for 4,000 years. So it was a very interesting experience to say the least. I'll talk a little bit more about that and why I basically wanted to go because I started to feel really, really comfortable. I had a whole routine. I would, do yoga. I would go to my cafes. I would meet up with people. We would do kirtan. Kirtan is basically chanting. You're chanting, singing, dancing. And there's tons of kirtan everywhere. I even took a couple of harmonium lessons. Harmonium is an instrument. I'm realizing not everybody knows what this is, but the harmonium, it's basically a combination of, you know what is it called? What is that thing called? Oh my gosh, that you wear it on your shoulder, accordion. It's the combination of an accordion and a little keyboard, but you place it on the ground. And to play it, to hear the actual keyboard play, you have to hit the accordion to get sound. And then you sing these, ancient chants, everything from Hare Krishna to Om Namah Shivaya, and all of it is really, really beautiful, really old. If you've never been a part of an experience like that, I'll tell you what my first experience was when I went um, in a moment. Okay, so I'm just kind of like quickly giving you an overview because, yeah, just kind of setting you up for what I'm going to talk about in this video. So there's a few things I want to talk about my India experience. However, it's still really, really fresh. I'm still integrating. I'm still, sometimes it's like you have this like incredible experience. And for me, I've never really done that before. I've never just taken off to a foreign land, especially a place like India, for that length of time. And so I need time and space to kind of like let things settle, right? But I do want to talk about something specific in this video. We're already into it 4 minutes, which is something that I was telling a friend yesterday that I think is a really beautiful and powerful distinction about last video. I was talking about the skin rashes that appeared, that showed up again, and how I was trying to basically heal them in a different way, right? So let's put a pause on that and let's get back to India for a moment. So the reason why I chose to all of a sudden shake things up and go to Varanasi is because, as you know, or if you're new to my channel, I've been on this spiritual journey of surrender for 3.5 years now. And there was something really that spoke to me when I was talking to a friend and she said to me, Varanasi is a place that it's like sensory overload, and it's also a place of death and rebirth all happening simultaneously. And I just thought, okay, If there's ever a metaphor for how I've been feeling each and every time I show up or wake up, it's this feeling of birth and death kind of happening all the time, right? I'll birth a new insight or wisdom based on experience, and then something else kind of like just atrophies or dies, right? So I wanted to go to this holy land and witness their version of it and see what it would spark up in me. Okay. Now, first, the whole experience of India, I mentioned this before. I wanted to go and I just wanted to exist. I didn't want to have to make any decisions. I was not interested in being a tourist. I was really like, let me show up at this ashram, let the bell ring at 5 in the morning. Let me show up down and do the meditation, do yoga, tell me when breakfast, lunch, and dinner is happening, when we're doing the fire puja, when we're doing like, just give me the schedule. I'm showing up, and that's all that I wanted. I did not want to have to make any decisions other than tell me when to show up. So, what was really beautiful about having that experience, and you can even think for a moment, when have you just been in that place where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to show up. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to like tell me where I have to be and I'll show up. Maybe in a retreat, right? Because everything is already planned for you. I don't know. But for me, because so much of my journey, I have to make these last minute decisions and they just seem to be so stressful. I was like, I don't want any of that. I just want to like exist, right? And I knew India would be like a mother to me, meaning I would feel nurtured, I would feel cared for, and all of that was true, right? I really felt that everybody was so warm, so friendly. I was meeting people. I think I mentioned it in the last video or 2 videos ago that were very similar to me. A lot of them actually didn't have a home and haven't hasn't had a permanent home in like years, like 6 years, 10 years. And I was just like, wow, and I really tried to take that in and go, can I live like this? Right. So, but before even answering that question, I'm just existing. I'm enjoying the ashram life. And then I decided to bounce and go to a hotel because I wanted a little bit more freedom. And that was wonderful. And that is when I started to really integrate my higher awareness with the practices, these ancient, beautiful practices of that India offered, and come up with kind of my own little morning routine, morning ritual. So that gets me back to talking about this distinction that I want to bring up, which is I had mentioned in the last video, it's okay if you haven't watched it, that when the skin rashes and eczema started to show up in my body, my first instinct was, oh, I know how to heal this naturally because I've done it before. All I have to do is ignore the present reality, stop looking at my skin, and just imagine my skin is already healed, close my eyes when I shower, and it will eventually be healed because that is how I healed it in the past. Now, what started to come up this time around was, but did you really heal it? Because here it is again. And the other question was, but are you, it feels a lot worse. Like the itchy felt worse. I can feel that it was rough, like, so the mind was playing these games like, I don't think this is going to work. I just don't think this is going to work this time, right? So I just want to quickly show you because I did not take pictures of my recent breakout of eczema because, as I said, I wasn't really looking at it. So I'm just going to show you. This is how it showed up in the past. Extremely red, inflamed, and it was on my legs, pretty bad, and shoulders, and also, yeah, just great. So I'm just showing you because I want you to understand that just closing my eyes and acting as if it's not there, it's still, that was still a hard thing to do when I could feel it and it was itchy, right? So this time around, I was like, okay, I think this is here for me to move through it differently. I also felt like I was avoiding. I was avoiding, I was afraid to look at it because if I look at it, it's going to make it worse. Okay. So here's what I did. I said, truly, I know I have the power within me to heal this. I also know when we are afraid of looking at something, we are in fear of it. Therefore, we're creating it and making it bigger. So the alchemy here now has to be not about closing my eyes and closing myself to what is and just imagining that it's already healed, but to look at it and not be afraid and to know and it's already healed. Now that's a little bit harder because your eyes and your brain, which is so conditioned to believe everything outside of us is way more powerful than what's inside, makes sense. Our whole lives are based on that, right? But when you're in training yourself to go, well, no, what's inside is actually creating the external reality. That's sort of the new belief that I've been instilling this whole time. Here I get to practice. It's the same as like looking at my bank account, seeing, the negative balances, and then saying, instead of reacting, going, oh my God, what am I going to do? Knowing I'm always, always, always abundant. This is just a temporary reality and money always flows through. I'm always taken care of, etc. So it's the same kind of thing. But when it's on your skin, for whatever reason, it feels harder. It just does. So here was my new challenge. Every day, I'm going to look at my skin and I'm going to know it's already healed. So as I'm doing this, when you create an intention like that, when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this differently, it's just a knowing that I have it's going to work. Even if the evidence is showing me it's not working, I still believe it is. What happens is it gets worse. So just know this. When you declare, when you have an intention, when you say, I'm the knowing, and I know this is already done, the 3D reality, which is a reflection of your past, okay, your past beliefs, your past, thoughts, your past experience, is going to get louder, stronger, bigger because it knows that you're trying to change something. It knows that you're actually onto something and that potentially the relationship that you have with it, meaning believing this external reality is more powerful than what's within, is not going to change. It's going to quote unquote die, right? You're killing this part of you off. So it's going to get louder. It's going to get bigger. You just have to know this. So I was aware. And of course, it got bigger and louder, in which case there were times where I wrote in my journal, how do I know this is working? I can't just not do anything and expect it to go away. And then I thought, but our bodies really do know how to heal us. Like that's what they're doing. Like when we get sick, that's all about our body trying to restore us back into a neutral, balanced system. So the sickness is actually part of the healing, right? It's trying to get rid of the bad bacteria or rid of the infection, right? So it's the same kind of thing. I was probably in a lot of anxiety and stress, like I said, in the last quarter of 2025. I was definitely in that way. And then I go to India in the beginning of the year and I feel safe and secure. And all I'm doing is just showing up and existing. So I feel super safe. So, of course, my body now is going to really have an opportunity to cleanse me, clear me, and restore me back to balance, right? So I kind of had all of this understanding, even though the physical evidence was showing me otherwise. Okay. So I kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. And what happened? Gone, 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 gone. There's a little bit left, but it's pretty much all gone. But everything is all back to normal. All my shoulders, everything is gone, which again is a beautiful example of when you have a strong knowing and you also are aware that the thoughts countering that knowing, all the contrast, doesn't actually hurt your ultimate knowing. So you just kind of let it come. That was the thing, was like just let the thoughts come, let the negativity come, let the itching come. It's fine. I know it's all healed. Then ultimately you kind of you see what it is that you knew all along, which is that yes, my body is in fact healing me, and we did it, which is amazing. So this is what I want to share. Negative thoughts, beliefs, sensations, stories, they don't actually hurt the outcome or what we're truly going after. They don't actually do anything. But the conditioning tells us it's bad, it's wrong to have negativity. So instinctively, before we even, I think, are aware of it, we suppress it, or we go, oh no, I shouldn't have that thought. Or that's what I was doing, was just constantly shaming, suppressing, feeling like I shouldn't have these thoughts. And when am I going to stop having these thoughts? Or I would go down the rabbit hole of the story, and then I'm feeling bad about myself, and then I would feel even doubly bad about myself because I went down that rabbit hole. So it's just like a constant compacting of negativity, and this is I'm wrong. I'm doing it wrong. I don't know how to do this. This always happens to me, etc. Right? When you practice that, it's actually not wrong, bad, or anything. It's really just, it just is. When you know that you are the awareness holding all experience, then you can allow all the thoughts, all the sensations, all the negativity without reacting to it, and even if you do react to it, it's okay, because you're like, this still doesn't hurt me. None of this hurts me. None of it hurts me. Now, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and this is the distinction I want to make. And I was trying to explain this to her, how I came to this awareness. And it was when I mentioned this last time. I had this intention. I want to make €100 in tips. At the time, I was doing Emily in Paris walking tours, and I'm like, can I just make €100 in tips? I mean, that was a big deal. Most of the time, I did not make €100. I made 20, 25. I mean, it was very, very rare. But I just cast it out. And then immediately what came up was, no, you can't make €100 in tips, because as soon as you say you want something, you're becoming separate from it, and you cause a need, which means the flow can't actually deliver it as what you want, because there's resistance. There's now a need. I need this external thing to come through in order for me to X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, feel better, have money, whatever, feel safe. So that was the immediate thought. And then right away it came to me, but I have learned having doubt doesn't actually do anything to change that there's still a possibility I can make €100. So what if I just go, okay, doubt, here, like, keep showing up. That's all good. I still know there's a possibility that I can create and make €100 in tips, right? So what happens? I make €100 in tips, and then I was like, see, I knew it. I knew it. And therefore I was telling this to a friend of mine, and she was like, but she didn't quite get it. She didn't quite understand how that was such a big revelatory awareness. And I was like, the difference is, had that negativity or that doubt show up, and then I made €100 in tips. What I would have said, and what I've said in the past is, oh, cool, that's kind of a one-off. And I would have went on my way, and I never would have understood the power of knowing contrast is not threatening to your ultimate desire or outcome or whatever. It just is. And being the awareness that holds all experience, there's nothing wrong with having contrast or having a doubt or having negativity at all. It's only the conditioning that tells us it's wrong, that we have to get rid of it, that we have to stomp on it, that we have to fight it, that we have to go into the story of it, etc. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it's a pretty strong emotion that is accompanying a cluster of thoughts or beliefs or programs that has been with us for a very long time. Like, for instance, I spoke about this in the past, the idea of romantic partnership, and how I finally came to the realization that, oh my God, it was conditioning that told me that I should feel sad, that I don't have this prized possession, which is a romantic partnership, that I should feel sad and feel sorry for myself. It wasn't actually an authentic emotion. It was just like years and years and years of conditioning telling me that I should feel sad and bad about myself. And no matter what I do in my life, it's never going to be enough because ultimately being in partnership is the ultimate goal and the prize. And that's your true happiness and bliss and blah, 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 blah. It took some time for me to unravel and unpack all of that story, right? Until I finally got to a place where I was able to see it. Does that make sense? So sometimes, yes, you will have to go in the story, but even there, it was a natural progression, meaning I wasn't trying or efforting to get to some understanding. It was more like it just showed up because of all this other work that I've been doing. And in a similar way, I think because of how I've always been taken care of along this journey, which that was my ultimate intention. Can I really trust that no matter what happens, I am always held. I'm always taken care of. I am abundant. No matter what the bank account says, no matter what is currently in this going on in this reality, I know I'm always taken care of, and I just have to get out of the way, and something always comes through. And because that kept showing up for the past 3 years, that's when these new thoughts started to arrive, this new insight, which is like, wait, none of this doubt actually hurts me. None of this story actually hurts me. So just let it show up and know that this other possibility can also show up, you know? And I think so that's what I wanted to share. I hope that that's landing because what I think is so powerful is if you go through life thinking that the thoughts that you have are wrong and bad and should be shamed and should, like, I wish I didn't have this victim voice. I wish I didn't have. If you go through life doing that, you're suppressing so much of the experience of really living. Because anytime you're stopping flow and you're like, oh, I don't want this and I don't want this within ourselves, then your capacity to explore and be in awe of life itself, just for being, also gets suppressed. And I was realizing this when I was in India because I said I didn't want to work. I was like, my whole, what if the only thing I actually do or I'm meant to do in life is just enjoy myself? And then I'm always supported with that. Meaning somehow money comes through, opportunity, places to stay, all these things come through for just for being in my joy, just for enjoying myself, just for being able to look at life and engage with the beauty and the presence of what is right now versus in my head, stuck in the past, stuck in trying to shame or blame or whatever, or in the future, thinking somehow that's better than what is right now. Does that make sense? Is that landing? So I hope it is. And I will just say that India gave me this incredible gift, which is I feel way, way, way more confident and secure in my knowing, in my understanding of how, I guess, reality and awareness and all of it sort of works, if that makes sense. And it's still coming. It's still flowing. The other interesting thing was I wanted clarity around, could I live like this? Can I just like bounce around and go from this country to this country like so many other people? And I realized I want a home. I want a home base and I want to travel. So it's both. So that is uh, that's where I landed. I'm happy to be here in Paris. I get another year until I have to renew again, but I'm so excited that I get to be here, my chosen home, and we will see how everything unfolds. I mean, that's one thing I will definitely uh, count on is that there's always beautiful moments of pleasant surprise and delight and amazing insight and wisdom, all from just being really, really present to what is and getting curious. Oh, I wanted to share Also, there's 4 questions that I've been asking myself every morning that I want to share. Maybe you want to try on. One is, what am I curious about? 2, what is dissolving within me? 3, what is opening within me? And 4, what is being mirrored back to me? So I've been having a really juicy journaling exercise by answering those questions every morning. So feel free to try them on. And I want to end this video by saying thank you so much for watching. And life really is about going out and having experiences. And oh, this is what I want to say. Experience is our greatest teacher. So go out and experiment with your life. Be fearless. Take care. So much love, everyone. Bye.